With Rob Lewis, Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com, continuing our positional previews, getting you ready for the start of football season. Today we look at the tight end position. Rob, interesting position. Two veterans that you know a lot about, and then the question.
Two super veterans.
Right. And then the question becomes, who's after that? Is there a third?
Is it Miles Campbell? I think that's probably who we would all guess, but you've got the transfer from Central Florida, Charlie Browder coming in. There's opportunity there behind those first two, because I mean those guys aren't going to play every single snap.
Well, it's going to be tough to play. And of course, Miles Campbell didn't go through spring practice because he was banged up a little bit. And then, as you mentioned, you got Charlie Browder, the UCF transfer from ETSU, and then the walk-on Hunter Salmon out there. Let's talk with the two veterans, Princeton Fant and Jacob Warren. Warren finally seems to have come into his own from a physical standpoint. What do you like about those top two guys, and how effective do you think they can be in year two in Josh Heupel's offense?
I mean, they're still not prototypical guys that you would expect to see in the SEC when it's 3rd and 1 and you're going to a two tight end set. But I think both those guys proved that they're not dominant blockers, but they can get the job done. And last year, it's not the most important position on the field, but it might have been Tennessee's biggest question mark. Just because nobody had ever done anything in that position. And if I would have told you that Fant and Warren would have combined for 34 catches and 6 touchdowns in August, you probably would have taken that.
Yeah.
So I think Josh Heupel and Alex Golesh, I think they did a great job of using what they had, finding out what those kids could do, and catering the offense to fit it to where both those kids were productive.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because you hear Josh Heupel talk about it, particularly when he's talking about the quarterback position. We can play with any type of guy, tall guy, short guy, fast guy, stand in the pocket type guy. They can do that a little bit, I think, offensively with their tight ends, as they proved last year, playing with those guys both in the run game and in the passing game. How much do you think they can grow in the passing game with those two guys?
I would like to think, I'm not saying they're going to be set records, but I think both those guys can do more. And I'm a little bit biased towards Jacob Warren, just having seen him in high school in the Knoxville area. Always thought he was just a really unique player, with that height, with his agility, and the challenge from the time he was a junior in high school was always going to be, can he put on weight? Can he put on weight? And he has, to the point where he's not just overmatched in there. And Fant, I think, a really underrated athlete on this team. I mean, who's played more positions on this team than Princeton Fant? I mean, he's been all over the place. So I think both of those guys bring some skill, some athletic ability to the table, and would, kind of some question marks at wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised to see them be a bigger part of the passing game.
Yeah, I think that, they might do more tight end stuff. And again, I think there's a natural growth and evolution in year two of this offense for sure when that happens. With Fant, there's a management skill, because you got to be careful with him. He is a little bit older and a little bit banged up and has battled quite a few injuries, so you want to be smart with him there. I think another unique guy that's not talked about because he's not as athletic is Hunter Salmon. He's been pretty sure-handed. He could be a reliable 3 guy if Miles Campbell can't get healthy and figure it out. But I think we all agree that Campbell's got enough athletic ability and skill if he can figure it out. He's just had a hard time. Remember, he got sick last fall camp. That slowed everything down for him, and then he missed all the spring. Really set him back.
Yeah, and if you just walk out on the practice field and start looking at guys, Miles Campbell's one of those guys that you're going to the roster. Who is that guy? I mean, he looks the part. He is an intriguing prospect, to be sure.
Well, and it's a part of this offense that's a big part of it. Alex Golesh, wherever he's been, his tight ends have been a big part of things. As you mentioned, they were a big part of things in year one in Josh Heupel's offense. We'll see how they grow in year two. That's a look at Tennessee's tight ends as our position previews continue to get you ready for the start of football season.